Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of the Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show, we'll revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Ike Eisenmann and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Rosen, along with the man who famously gave strength and conditioning pointers to The Rock on the set of 2009's Race to Witch Mountain, Ike Eisenmann. Ike, how are you today?
I'm awesome. I keep forgetting you do these intros now, and all of a sudden you start talking. I go, oh dear, what am I in for today?
I thought that's pretty good.
That was fantastic. Yeah.
Today we have another forgotten films. We haven't done one in a while.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you introduce. Well, I'm going to say, we are doing Shakes the Clown. We take turns, and this was your turn. And I think at some point we decided that we were going to torture the other one with the film. And I have to say that out of all the times we've done it, this is the first time I can say that honestly that you did just that. But I'm going to let you.
Well, you know what? I kind of figured since we decided to go that route that this might be a good a good candidate for it. Yeah. I was also tortured, or let's say re-tortured in a sense. But yeah, Shakes the Clown. It's from 1991, written and directed and starring Bobcat Goldthwait. He plays, obviously, Shakes the Clown, and the character is a major alcoholic who ends up screwing his life up as a party clown because he drinks too much. And his friends get on his back about it. His boss threatens to fire him if he doesn't straighten up. And then a group of drug dealing party clowns that are kind of his nemesis frame him for the murder of their boss, and hilarity ensues. So there it is. And the upshot of this film that's just so ludicrous, and what I think I loved about it the most when I first saw it, and I'll get to that in a minute, is that Bobcat Goldthwait just created, this world of Palookaville where, people don't live as clowns. They function as clowns, though, and they all have their different jobs. And there's the party clowns, and then there's the rodeo clowns, and then there are the mimes. And the party clowns and rodeo clowns hate each other, and they all hate the mimes. And so every time they come across a mime, they just want to beat the crap out of them because they hate them so much. And that's one of the others kind of, semi-humorous ironies towards the end, that for Bobcat, for Shakes to hide out while he's being pursued by the cops for a murder he didn't commit, he goes to mime school. It's just so ridiculous. But anyway, that's the basic rundown on it. It co-stars Julie Brown and Blake Clark, Paul Dooley, Kathy Griffin, Tom Kenny, who plays the villainous party clown, and he's the incredibly prolific, profoundly talented voice over actor who voiced SpongeBob SquarePants amongst scores and scores and scores of other things. And then there's Adam Sandler, who's in it. Florence Henderson does a cameo. Robin Williams does a cameo. So it was quite an illustrious cast that, I've no doubt friends of Bobcats that he put together. But my personal history with the film is, yes, this is another film I worked on in ADR. And
that I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. And this is the thing about, there's comedies most specifically, because seem to have been particularly fascinating to work on, primarily because, again, we don't know what the movies are. And sometimes I screen them, sometimes my partners would screen them. And then if my partner screened it and I walked in cold, I have really no idea what it's all about. But when we would work on comedies, the directors are always like to be there. And I started to figure out very, very, very quickly why that occurred. It's because this is the very first audience that the film gets to see, because the film is still unfinished. So it's only been screened for editors and, you know, music people and sound editors and all of that, who are, you know, of course they're consumers as well. But when we come in with a group of 10 actors, it's like a mini audience that gets to watch this comedy for the first time. And they, you know, one director had explained to me how valuable it was, because he had no idea if his film was funny or not, and Bobcat was like feeling equally insecure. So when we all start busting a gut at what we're seeing on screen, it's just becomes a huge relief for the filmmakers. And I have to say, yes, this is a torturous movie to watch. It does not hold up over time. But for some reason in 1991, man, it tickled my funny bone and those of my coworkers, and we just ended up having to watch an entire reel at a time just to get our laughing out of the way, and then back up and start to work on it, because it was just so freaking ridiculous.
Bobcat was in with you when you did it?
He was in the session. Oh yeah, he was there. Yeah, we spent an entire 8 hours working with him, and you know, I always liked him as a comedian, as a comic character, because that's really what it was. He was a comedic character. He created the persona of Bobcat Goldthwait. Of course, he doesn't speak like that, and he doesn't stammer in that way, and all of that. That's an act that he puts on. So, and that's always fascinating to me to then meet someone like him, who's like really kind of calm and cool, and just, you know, just behaves like a normal person, and yet you see this crazy character that's up on the screen that's manufactured. So yeah, he was there. He guided us through the things he wanted, and you know, had very clear ideas about a lot of stuff, and you know, we helped him write some joke stuff into it. I can't remember anything specific, but he wanted it. It was, when I've talked about Eddie before, usually our work is designed to be innocuous, you know, just background sense of reality. But when we do comedies, quite often they want us to play it up, because they want to punch up anything that they can. So we did a lot of goofing around working on this film, and really had a lot of fun. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it and watched it night before last. And my lovely, patient, understanding wife actually sat through the whole thing with me. I was going to ask if you like this movie. I knew you were going to. I know this has become this has become the running story now. She actually went ahead and watched the whole thing, and I could feel her cringing, and I just thought, why is she not cutting me off? I said, honey, you know, if you can't get through it, it's okay. I can watch it later on my own. But she sat through the whole thing and just couldn't stand it, of course. But
okay, I got to say this, okay, and this is no disrespect intended right now. Right now, to me, Tia has lost all credibility since she walked out of other movies and she hung around for this one. Yeah. And I say this with all the respect in the world.
I've never claimed she had any credibility, and she wouldn't either. She likes what she likes and hates what she hates, and never the twain shall meet. And she makes no bones about
Texas, it. Correct? She walked out of Happy Texas, and she stayed for this. Okay.
Yeah, but she forced herself. Now, to be fair, she forced herself.
Okay,
and I don't know why she did, because I thought, no, that's the deal. We you know, I just like to see how far you get before you just say, I can't do this. I can't do this. But
I felt there was a part of me that felt, oh, this is what Tia must feel like, because I said, I'm doing this for Ike, because. That's what was going through my mind.
Well, I'm just glad I picked it before I rewatched it, because if I had rewatched it, I would not have picked it, because I was just I was going to say I can't, you know, once we reclarified what our rules were about torturing each other, then it would have been, oh, you know what, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good choice.
Oh, first of all, I just got to say on that note, just you wait for the next one. But
oh, I cannot imagine, and of course I will dutifully make my way through it.
Well, I just want to give some of my initial thoughts. Okay, because I am a fan of Bobcat Goldthwait. I am a huge fan of Julie Brown. So it had a lot of people that I liked in it. Adam Sandler, who's in it too. But and granted, alcoholism in the clown community is always ripe for comedy. But,
Yeah.
but here's some of the thing. And I read all the trivia notes that he used it as a metaphor for the stand-up comedy circuit and all the cliques formed within it. So I read all that. I got it. And I did like the idea of a clown bar, all the clowns hanging out, drinking and commiserating with each other. So they had some amusing things in it too. But I kind of got lost when they're clowns the entire movie. I thought, okay, when's he taking off and becoming someone else? And that never happened. So
Yeah.
I said, Julie Brown, who I love, had her speech impediment come and go, throughout the thing. Sometimes it was there. Most of the time it was there, but then there were times that it just didn't, and then she had it again the next scene. So here it is. Here's my notes here. Movie opens. I'm hating it 3 seconds in. I just see the tone of it. And this agreed to appear in this movie. Did she lose a bet? Was she hard up for work? What happened that she appeared in this? So that's the first thought going through my mind. Here's the next things that I saw. I read that people walked out of the screening partway through, which I got it. Esquire magazine has it on their list of 75 movies every man should see. And I'm thinking, how bad are these other 74 films? Here, Bobcat Goldthwait said that many of the actors improvised their own lines. And again, perhaps they should have stuck to a coherent script instead. That was maybe one of the issues. Here's more. I got a lot of these. It was 87 minutes long, 87 minutes where I felt the soul being sucked away from my body, 87 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. It was like a Common Core movie to me where the math doesn't make sense, since somehow 87 minutes could actually feel like 5.5 hours. And one more, and I saw Bobcat Goldthwait and Joel Murray were also in the movie One Crazy Summer with John Cusack. I don't know if you saw that. Ironic, and it also had Demi Moore in it, who tried out for this movie. So that One Crazy Summer was not great, but it felt like Citizen Kane compared to this for me. So
my God, no, I have not seen that one. I have not seen that film. Yeah,
it was just, I didn't know what to say. I just and Robin Williams was amusing in this too. But again, they had Robin Williams, and I read that he wrote the part for John Goodman, and John Goodman turned it down. And Demi Moore auditioned for the Julie Brown part. So I don't know what was going on in her career that she couldn't land this, but it was just so bizarre. And also I read that he had first wanted to make this like some weird movie that he had powers, and he left some of that part in where you saw the clown. He was able to jump up to the railing on the second floor. I don't know if you remember, that
oh
part.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So
completely. I mean, I don't even know what you call that. You can't call it a non sequitur. I mean, it's just like, where did that come from? Yeah,
well, that's right. He originally intended it to be somewhere else, but something I did not find myself laughing. I thought, look, I thought there were amusing parts in there. There definitely were. And the cast, great cast to me. It just, the tone felt, I didn't find the humor in it. And maybe this is just me, I don't know. And I laugh at a lot of things. I laugh at a lot of stupid things. So I love stupid movies. But this, I don't know. It never grabbed me, the whole thing. And I was just like, oh my God, how much more is this? And so the thing, but it was so bizarre. And I have to find, this is what I wanted to find out from you. So what you did love about this movie? I have to ask that first.
Well, I think the context of this is just the time, the time frame, the period of time. Look, the people, my co-workers, my fellow actors, they were all incredibly crass, darkly funny people. I mean, they wrote some of the dirtiest, most offensive jokes I have ever heard, and I would never repeat, because this is their sense of humor. Many of them,
Might
not
be good
all of
for
them.
ratings. You want to?
No, 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 no. I'm not going to get canceled over somebody else's joke because I repeated it 35 years later.
Right.
But so I have a very dark sense of humor. It's very dark.
Same with me.
I mean,
Yes.
I have to say, and I'm one of those critics or assessors of Stanley Kubrick's work, in the sense that he makes dark comedies. That's what he does, and not everybody sees that. And the thing that the film of his that, of course, I truly am the most affected by every time I see it is A Clockwork Orange. And it's there's no darker comedy than a dark comedy about ultra violence. And so I loved the concept of this movie. But yeah, it's not structured well enough. It wasn't written well enough. It was incredibly low budget, which might be obvious. And to me, revisiting it now so much later, it looks like a student film is what it looks like. It's looking like a student film that could have gotten the writer director's other work, but no, no one ever needs to see it. It smacked of that to me. Because I have seen student films, they're rough around the edges. They're not necessarily well edited because they're made by film students. No matter how talented that might be, it takes a lot of experience to, as you know, write anything, number one, let alone assemble something that's watchable and enjoyable. So, and it's not funny. This isn't funny. It's tragic. But there was this very long protracted period of time in the 80s and the 90s where alcoholism was front and center in a lot of people's conversations and awareness. And I was familiar with AA and Al-Anon and meetings like that, and kind of seeing what goes on there, and hearing stories about knockdown, drag out alcoholics and how they behaved and what they were like. And it made me uncomfortable that he was trying to make a comedy about an affliction like this. But at the same time, we kind of have a history of alcoholic characters. You've got Arthur and other characters where it would be really uncomfortable. I haven't seen Arthur in a long time either, but it would probably be very uncomfortable to watch it again. Yeah. So for some reason, when we worked on it, and again, it was unfinished at the time. We were used to seeing unfinished films and just seeing them raw and seeing what they what the content was and the material was. But for some reason, man, it just hit our funny bones on that day. And thankfully we didn't have to fake it, because we've worked on comedies where we had to fake it. Because if you don't laugh, man, you got the death feeling in the room is overwhelming. And so we found ourselves as actors forcing ourselves to laugh. This one we really didn't. And I just think it just because it made me so uncomfortable. And I tend to like that. And I just, like I said, we were fans of Bobcats. I love him. And I thought, well, he's such a quality comedian. There's got to be something here. But it doesn't hold up. And no, it's horrendous. The bottom line is horrendous. I recommend people see it if you just want to experience horrible movie making. Robin Williams didn't amuse me in the slightest bit. He's really not funny. He's not. It's these bits. I think he had two jokes in there that I kind of giggled at this time, and I think the one about wearing his Shake shows up at mime class, and that's where Robin Williams comes in. He's teaching mime to the students, and Bobcat is Shakes is hiding out there, so he puts on a mime getup, and he's got the black leotards, but he's got these ridiculously like bikini underwear on over the top of them, and one of the first things that Robin Williams says is, perhaps you'd like to relook at your wardrobe and wear your underwear on the inside next time, which I thought was really funny. But then that was kind of where it ended. And
everyone did that. I read everyone was ad-libbing, giving their own little improvisation stuff during the film. Not everyone could do that.
It doesn't always work, just because they're funny people and they probably say funny lines sometimes, but it felt that way. It didn't feel focused and really directed. And I think that I also think that you said you were waiting for them to break out of their clown characters and be real people. I think that was the problem, that Bobcat was out of his makeup. When he went to bed, his makeup was off, and then he put it back on in the morning. I think refreshing it was interesting when he stopped at the bathroom on the way to the kids' party. But I liked the idea that they were always clowns, that's how this weird world existed. These clowns were always clowns, which is why it was such a thing for them to hate each other rather than their chosen profession. It's just simply how they existed. But I guess he just didn't really want to commit to that, or it didn't work for him. But then it ultimately ends up not really working in the movie, because you're right. They're dressed up as clowns all the time. You see him out of makeup occasionally. And so that then becomes inconsistent. And the whole, bouncing around superpower thing, I didn't get that at all. So it's very problematic in many ways. But I'll say I felt like the one thing it was worth watching for was Tom Kenny's performance as the evil Binky the clown. I really liked what he did, and I didn't know who he was when I saw it the first time. I was familiar with his name, but I didn't know that much about him as a voiceover actor until later. So I just thought
he shoots to fame after. Yeah.
What's that?
And then he shoots to fame after that.
Yeah. So it was very interesting to watch him work. And I'm not quite sure what else to say, because I'll never watch it again. I'll never ever watch it again. I'm now completely done.
well, I'll say same, but I'll just I looked at the preview before we did it, and usually when we do these things, I go and just buy it on Amazon Prime, because to me it's if I'm going to rent it, it's like $4. Buying it is like $10 or whatever. So I said I'll just buy it just in case I want to watch it again. From the preview, I said, no, I'm going to rent this one. This is the first movie that I just rented, because I said I'm not going to. I have a feeling I'll never watch this a second time. And so I was glad that I did. I saved myself $6 on it.
Okay, well, I'm certainly happy I saved you some money today.
No, it was just. I said it was whole bizarre. I got the whole stand-up comedy thing. I got that they're always clowns, because I guess they're always on. This is their persona, hanging out at the clown bar. And he said that he patterned it after a bar where all the comics used to hang out, and everyone was just as bitter. I was reading I have a wide variety of things that I find funny, different. I have a very dark side as well. I don't know. It just never got to me. It never got to me to the point that I laugh. And maybe back then I would have. I don't know. I was in college age when this did come out, so it's very possible. But I don't know. It just looking at it now, I just did not find a lot of the humor in it. And like I said, I am a fan of Bobcat. I am a fan of Julie Brown's. So a lot of the people in this, and Sandler, I love, but it just never grabbed me. And I felt like all these people were being put to waste, not letting their true talents come out. That was one of the things that did get to me, that the script did not give them anything to do.
Yeah. Well, no, that's absolutely the truth. That's what happens if you don't have a real spine for what you're trying to create. Then it goes off the rails. When it goes off the rails, you lose the audience. And no, it didn't. I gotta say, it's again, if you see it for the some of these films for the first time 30 years later, you're experiencing them as, with an entire history of comedy and funny and all of that has that you've seen, watched, and enjoyed, and then it just puts it to shame. It puts it to shame. But no, it didn't work. It didn't work. I don't know. When you remember laughing at something and finding something funny, and you carry that for a really long time, and then sometimes trying to revisit it, it doesn't happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Before you watched it this time, now I'm curious there too. The memories that you had of it, of loving it, right? That's what I'm not putting any disparaging on. I'm just saying,
no, I did.
How the mind works, because
I did.
You did.
I bought the DVD. I don't have it anymore, so I went to look for it, and I thought, I think I bought it, or maybe I rented it. I just rented it because I wanted to see it finished. I probably rented it. I don't think I bought it, but back then I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny, and I don't think it's funny anymore. I really don't. And it's not the concept, because the concept was what I loved. That was the thing that I thought was so interesting, and a great vehicle.
Was Tom Kenny in with you when you recorded, when you did the voiceover?
No. None of the cast was, just Bobcat, because he wrote and directed it. So he, wanted to make sure he was, and filmmakers get, of course, very, picky, as well they should. And he was trying to make sure he guided our improvs for the background stuff around, the world that he was trying to set up, that these clowns exist in. But yeah, I mean, the other thing that's interesting about it is when we see it. Those days we were watching it on film, but it was black and white film, because they use work prints. You don't see it. You don't ever see a movie in color until it's completely done, because it's too expensive.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Work prints have to be handled constantly, and they break and scratch, and they need to be replaced, and all the different departments need their reels, so rather than go through the expense of printing a lot of color versions of it that are just going to end up in the trash, they do it in black and white, because it was just pennies on the dollar to do that. So seeing it in black and white is even odder, because you've got clowns with all their makeup and all of that. So it tended to even create a stranger sense about it, seeing it in black and white first. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I can quite explain myself away here, other than just to say it was 1991. I was in a different place. The world was in a different place, and my friends and co-actors were just, it was our sense of humor. Yeah.
Was this the first time that going back to watch a film that you remember really loving that you did not now?
I don't know, because I think there are films. I don't think I can name one right now that I have gone back to revisit and just thought, oh no, yeah, not quite what I thought when I first saw it, or back when I enjoyed it. Because I think movies, there's so many movies lose their sense of immediacy. Unless it's science fiction or a historical drama, films are contemporary at the time. Then they become dated as time goes by, because that style is gone. Whether it's a style of humor, or a style of cinematography, or a style of music, or all of that. Yeah, I just find my taste has matured along with the amount of cinema that I've consumed over time, and I get pickier and pickier and pickier all the time. So then I'll go back and pick on things that I might have thought more highly of back when I first saw them. Yeah.
But excuse me, I was reading again. This movie does have a large cult following. I was reading now, which, I guess every movie at some point does, or whatever. But there were also quite a few people now who said revisiting it, they're giving it good reviews. So I was like, reading that, I was like saying, what am I missing here that they're giving it good reviews, or they just want to be, or these reviewers just want to be like separate from the norm and stand out that they're saying that. Because I still didn't get it. So, but there definitely, I guess, is an audience that people are liking it, and it does have a following. I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing in it. I just, like I said, I didn't love it. I was just curious. Looking at it, what did you think you gave it back then on a scale of 1 to 10 back then, as opposed to what do you think now?
Oh God. I probably, I wouldn't have rated it super high, but I probably would have given it a 7. Because it wasn't a well-made film. We could all see that. It was just so ludicrous that we thought, this is just so off the wall. We enjoyed it for that. So that's the that's the rating I would have given it then. But now it is almost unwatchable. I mean, it really is. There's not much, like I said, Tom Kenny's performance isn't worth watching the film for. But just to enjoy a cringeworthy movie, if that fits on the scale, I would still give it a 7 or 8 or a 9 for cringeworthiness.
Really?
Only for cringeworthiness, not for humor. I mean, yeah.
I mean, I'll honestly say that I'll never watch this again unless something unforeseen happens. Unless I want to show someone. I don't know. My final. I can't say that it was totally joyless for me, because there were a couple of moments that I did enjoy or thought funny. I like the 2 clown friends, Sandler and the other guy. I forgot his name. I shouldn't. But I still, overall, I'm giving it a 3.
Yeah, that's about. I would say 3. On a watchability scale. Yeah, 3 is more than generous. I almost said 2, but I think 3 is right, just about right.
Well, I can't say that I'm not going to recommend it, because I do like when people go and see it and give me their opinions on it too. So if I think you have to experience it once. And I'd be curious. I am curious if anyone has seen the movie, anyone who's watching has seen it movie. Let us know in the comments what you thought, if you liked it or agreed, disagreed. And if you loved it, I'd like to hear that too, and explain the reason why.
But it fits in with our theme, forgotten films. It might not be forgotten because it's achieving some, like you said, cult status. But I think this, right. I love to say, yes, it should be forgotten. It should stay relegated to that.
I am just going to say one more time in closing, though, about how just you wait for your turn.
Oh, now I'm dying because I want to see. Yeah. Now I'm insanely curious. So
I cannot wait now. So
yeah,
I'm not. The only thing is that I am not sure I can find something that I love that you will hate as much as I hated this one. But so that's it. I think you might have me for a good long time. But I'm all right.
Think. Well, hey, you might patting myself on the back right now. There we go.
But anyway, again, let us know what you think in the comments. If you liked it, didn't, your thoughts, if you agree, disagree. And as always, this has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Ike Eisenmann. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast.